1, 2,
And
3.
we are live.
We are live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Freddie and Alyssa show. I'm going to just hydrate because I have a lot of talking to do.
I feel like we're both out of breath because we were trying to get the correct camera angles.
We ended up
and down.
Yeah, we ended up
Both
moving
running
them.
around.
That's why we should actually put tape. You've actually said that. Just
I
mark the
should
floor
do
so
it.
anytime we move the tripod, we know exactly where to replace the cameras.
I love that. Phone on silent. Done.
Yeah, my package came, so we don't have to worry about that
I know.
for my little project outside.
We usually never keep our phones on ring.
Just when a
Ever.
package is coming.
Yeah, just literally when a package is coming. What are you doing outside? We're going to get into that. You're going to tell us, right?
Yeah. No, I did a fun little project for privacy, which was really good. Just because our apartment, right when you walk up, if you walk up the garage from where you park,
Yeah.
people look right in, and you have to have the blinds drawn, but then there's no light.
Sure.
So I was like, let's put up some fake ivory. So I did that the other day, and it works really well.
I gotta tell you, at first I was like, uh-oh, what's he gonna do? And it turned out so well. I love it. So, good job.
Yeah, I'm a little handy around the house.
Andy.
I fix
You really
clogged
are.
sinks. I hang pictures.
I gotta tell you, a lot of times you really surprise me. I'm like, how do you know how to do that? And then I think back to, I'll think of your dad, and he knows how to do everything.
Oh, yeah, that's how I learned. Yeah,
I
growing up, I
know,
was always
I
digging
know.
ditches and building things, replacing floors, and
Even when your dad was here, your parents, for Christmas, you guys put up that beautiful canvas.
yeah.
You made that TikTok if anyone ever wants to see it.
Yeah, I was, no, it's good. I learned a lot. I used to do all that stuff. Then I became an actor and got soft, and now I just hire people to come and do things, which is ridiculous, but I still remember how to do it.
Oh, man.
So, but welcome to the Freddie and Alyssa show. We've been kind of tracking the coronavirus, and we haven't really touched on it because I just kind of wanted to see, I didn't want to speculate, but we really got some really good information for everyone, and we just wanted to speak honestly about it and give you some information that we actually just heard, and so we're going to get into that. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. This way you don't miss any of our future videos. Like and comment, all that fun YouTube stuff, and we've got a really cool couple weeks coming, really a couple months, a lot of really great stuff coming, but I'm pumping my brakes, as Alyssa always tells me, until things go down. But my birthday's next week. We got some big stuff coming.
Yeah.
So please subscribe so you don't miss anything. You can hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. But today, let's get into our sponsor, the famous
favorite.
CBD for Life rub. I've missed CBD for Life.
CBD for
CBD's
Life
been
is my favorite. If anyone's watching the video here, you can probably see I use this lemongrass CBD rub. It is the best for body pains, aches. There's no THC detected. It's a women-founded company, which I obviously love and adore. And this stuff just works. It's really, really good. So I'm going to get some more of that. And you love the foot rub.
Yeah, the
Love
foot
it.
rub's great. They have a lot. You can go to their website and check it out. It's CBD for Life, and it's FOR. So it's cbdforlife.us, and you can check out their products. But yeah, they're really great. They've done third-party testing for potency, and it's just absolutely wonderful. They've been a long-time supporter of our podcast. We really appreciate them. And but yeah, check them out. cbdforlife.us, and then the checkout code
kind
is
enough to give 20% off if you use Freddie Alyssa 20 at checkout.
Yeah, this way you can save a little money while you try it out. But it's yes, Freddie Alyssa 20, all one word, Freddie Alyssa 20, and that's cbdforlife.us. You can check them out, and they've been really great. So thank you, CBD
love
for
you
Life,
guys.
for rocking with the Freddie and Alyssa show. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep this near me just because of the smell too. I love
I
the
know,
smell
it
of it.
smells so good.
Well, let's hop into.
Are we going to get super serious first? Because
I
I
mean-
know this is a very big deal. But I feel like you have a lot more information and intel. I know you were kind of researching.
Yeah, well, because there was an
Everything.
expert on Joe Rogan's podcast today, and I think Joe was at the same level that we were, and I think a lot of people in the United States and around the world is that you're hearing, oh, it's a big deal, oh, it's not a big deal, and then just last night, I literally thought people were overreacting
Yeah.
about the paper towels and all this stuff, and I was like, no way. There was none.
Then we went to the grocery store last night. There were literally just a little bit of toilet paper, and it was those really
Yeah.
like
I mean, beggars can't be
affordable ones.
chooser,
Yeah,
but you
so
can see.
we bought a bunch of
Yeah,
them.
we should have just bought some computer paper
Oh my god, no.
at that point. Just like, but yeah, it's all that they had left.
And that
so
was the second place I'd gone to. I went to Rite Aid. They were completely out. And then we got home, and I was looking on Amazon, Costco.com. Like, it is wiped out.
well, everything's on back order.
Yeah.
You did find some though that can be sent? It was just like
it's not much. It's like 6
Yeah.
mega rolls. We have plenty of paper towel, but
and that's essentially because of the supply chain.
I believe.
Not because of like people. I think it's a combination of both, where people are like, "Oh, I want to make sure I'm stocked up in case we're ever like quarantined in our house or whatever."
Yeah.
But it's also the supply chain, and that's what I was learning today. And if you have time to go check out Joe Rogan's podcast, you can hear this. He's an infectious disease expert, and he was really just kind of shooting it straight. And that's what Joe wanted, because he's like, I'm hearing just too much, like people are panicked, and then people aren't, and then you're hearing all these statistics, which I initially heard too, where the flu each year I think kills like tens of thousands of people, but yet it's not publicized in this way.
Correct.
And then they're comparing it to the numbers of like, it's still terrible, but like 10 people or 50 people or whatever it may be. But after getting some more information about it today, it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
And he was not wanting to scare people, but being straight with people is all we really want to know. He's like, you don't want people to panic, but at the same time, you need to take it serious.
Yourself and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And collect your facts.
And what to do and everything
so
like
what'd
that.
He say?
Well, essentially, I think a couple of the misconceptions is one, that it's spread, that like washing your hands and not touching your face is just a kind of a good thing to you should always wash your hands, but in general it's airborne.
Yes.
So being on an airplane, being on a cruise ship, that's why people on a cruise ship off of California too, being on a cruise ship, it's circulated air. So the circulated air is how people are getting the disease. So washing your
airborne. So does that mean basically, because from what I read, and this is just something I read, who knows if that's right or wrong, I want to ask, they were basically saying that you have to cough, and if that like droplet gets on a surface where it lasts for 10 hours, you somehow have to touch that with your hand and then accidentally touch your face or whatever it is to get that. Is that...
I mean, I'm sure that will transmit it as well, but essentially he was just saying like it's airborne. Like if I had it and you breathed my air, you have it.
Huh.
So he goes, there's really no, yeah. So and then the other tough part about it is that there's about a 4-day incubation period where people don't have symptoms, but they can give it to other people. So people are like, oh, I just left this concert or this plane or whatever, and they're like, oh, I feel fine for 4 days, but everyone they're breathing on, they can be infecting. So that's why it's
spreading so quickly.
Yeah, and then he also said too that, and then we'll get into kind of the good news, but it wasn't really all that good.
No.
Like it was kind of like a really and he said, I just need to shoot it straight because people need to know what to do. But essentially he goes, this is not going to go away tomorrow. And he goes, and that's kind of the mentality. And I kind of felt that way. I was like, this will be out of the news in 2 weeks. And he goes, it's probably going to last another 3 to 6 months, if not longer.
Okay.
As it continues to spread, because that incubation is what's really creating this thing to go viral. Because for 4 days people don't know. And he talked about, well, what do we do? Do we shut down schools? And I never thought about this. He goes, if you shut down schools for 2 months, he goes, when people have the flu, it actually helps on Christmas break to get all these kids out of school for a while so that they come back and you're more healthy. But if you shut down the schools for a month or 2 months, he goes, a lot of these parents work in the medical field. He goes, so these nurses who are moms and dads, they're going to have to take off work to watch their kids, but then they're not there at the hospitals in case you need them. How are they going to pay for a babysitter if there's all these kids around? Like there's not going to be the parents are going to have to take off work. So he goes, it ends up being a worse thing. So they're kind of trying to figure out, it's very, very complicated. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. So, and the other thing too is that there are cases of people who are in their 40s. It's not just like we heard like over 80 You know, it's like an older person's disease when it comes to fatality.
Right.
But it's happening in all ages. But the older you are, the more dangerous it is.
Sure.
If you're a smoker, it's more dangerous. If you have high blood pressure, it's more dangerous. If you're obese, it's more dangerous.
Yeah.
So if you have other health problems with it, it becomes more dangerous.
Right.
So it is very, very low in the younger generation. There's been very little deaths under 19. I think even 20s and 30s and 40s, though people are getting it, if you're healthy, it's not as life-threatening.
Yeah.
And then the concern just becomes like, you know, around the nursing homes or what are people basically going to do? And I think eventually it's going to come out where people just aren't going to be going in public or being in places where...
Which is already happening. I know people who have canceled, you know, their plans to travel or go whatever it might be on an airplane, obviously cruises, because they're nervous.
Are people really flying right now?
I mean, my sister just did. She went to Florida.
Yeah, I would not right now.
You know, it's just one of those things, because I think with any major issue in the world in general, there's such a fine line of educating and understanding and doing all that you can to stay safe, but also to not let it overtake your life and to continue living and not be scared. Like, I read a little bit about the whole toilet paper thing. Most people are saying it's a panic purchase that is causing more panic purchases because everyone's freaking out.
Yeah.
We're all, oh my gosh, what's going on? And yes, we should be cautious. Of course, it's a little scary, you know, it's crazy, you know, and if you get too much in the news and you just look all the time on Twitter, what's going on, and all of these big headlines freak you out. And I say that because I did this. I really scared myself. I terrified myself. And I just think it's really important. Educate yourself. Know what you can do. If you're sick, stay home. Please, for the love of God, do not go out. And if you feel like someone around you is sick or like, just be wary. Be very, very cautious. But I don't know. You just can't stop living either. You can't be too scared. Because I know I almost did that. And I finally was like, Alyssa.
Yeah.
Like, get yourself together here. It's going to be okay.
Well,
but be aware. You know, I think we had the 26th death in the U.S. thus far, if I read correctly today.
Yeah, I think we're going to know a lot more in the upcoming weeks or months. But that gentleman just made it seem like, you know, it's going to be 3 to 6 months before it hits its peak of like how terrible it could be. But yeah, it's the supply chains that are becoming that's like the issue, because there's also medicines coming from outside the country that people need to live, and so there's more than paper towel and toilet paper that are at risk of like supplies. Affected. Yeah, everything's being. So we're just gonna have to see, but I don't think, you know, I read through like the CDC website, you know, of you know, preventing it, and of course it's the washing of the hands, and it's the you know, not touching your face. These are just normal things that we do. But so I think if anything, it's these big groups, you know, and no one's really like is Coachella going to be shut down? They just had Comic-Con. They said they didn't shut that down. The LA Marathon was last weekend. Yeah. No one, you know what I mean? So I just don't know, and I think we just need just a little more clarity. And I really hope people don't make this a political thing. Because we're all in this together, regardless of which political side you're on. I just hope that people aren't going to make this into a political thing.
They already are. There's a lot of stuff I've seen on Twitter today that there's just, I don't know.
Yeah. It's just sad that
all
people
you can do, I know, just get along with your neighbor. Be cautious, be kind, be careful. If you are sick, stay home. Don't cough in people's faces. Bring hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
And just like... mind your business.
But I also think if you look at this though, it kind of makes you wonder, you know, like say this was like how he mentioned that, you know, the worst that it could be is like 500,000 people die, and you know, he was just going through too like how we just aren't, like, we're prepared but not prepared, and we're this ever growing world. We're in this nation that's leading in technology and all these amazing, you know, things that we're doing. But yet something like the coronavirus, you can't even, with mass communication, you can't even get a message across about what's really going on, what's true, what's not. And if something ever were to happen that is worse than the coronavirus, or if this coronavirus gets really bad, like, are we actually going to be are we actually going to be able to combat something terrible? Like, are we prepared? Like, we're not even prepared. They're out of stock with paper towels. Like, if there was an apocalypse of some kind, it doesn't look like anyone's prepared for anything. And yet here we are fighting about petty things, and yet our entire lives are at stake. Like, if we all came together as a world, like, what we could do together.
I saw too, like, they're working on vaccines for it, and then of course there are always going to be two people on that argument on that side, but there's just so much that they're trying to do to figure this out.
I think that's why the CDC is probably just saying, like, just wash your hands, cover your mouth when you cough, because, like, how else do you like, what are you supposed to do then? Because they haven't made the big decision to, like, stay out of things. But also, it's kind of like the flu season. Like, people don't stay home.
They should.
But then people need to work, and you also can't take off. That's the other problem. Most Americans live paycheck to paycheck, so how are you going to take off a week? Because most people don't have sick leave. So some of these things need to be fixed.
Yeah.
Like, the little things make a huge difference in our quality of life.
Of course.
That people are overlooking.
Yeah.
It's like we're all tackling these major issues which need to be tackled, but at the same time, the fact that someone who could be sick and doesn't stay home for 2 weeks because their employer doesn't allow it, or there's no law in place to allow it, or there's no people aren't prepared for it.
Well, I saw this big tweet too that kind of went viral, and the guy was basically saying where he works that their employer stated if you are feeling symptoms and you're sick, you get, I think it was 3 days that they'll allow, and then after that you have to dig into your vacation days, and like that's it. It's like, how is that fair? Then you're making someone come into work who doesn't want to give up their other days off, and they have symptoms, and they're going to spread that.
Yeah.
It's just awful.
Yep.
So they got to come up with a better system here, because...
Or whoever's in charge of it.
That.
Yeah. But I don't know enough about, like, the corporate world in general, but I do know, like, the new wave of how a lot of companies are, have scheduling where you hire a bunch of people and they have the ability to take off whenever they want.
Yeah.
But at the end of the year, when you sit down and ask for a raise, the boss can go, well, you took 6 months off, so no raise for you. But you have the ability to be more free.
Isn't that how VaynerMedia does it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The rigid schedule of, like, Monday through Friday, you only get 2 weeks, certain amount of sick days and vacation needs to change. People need a little more freedom.
We're growing, we're evolving.
You need a little more freedom, and I think people got away with that. But the whole entire landscape is changing, and this is just putting more spotlight on everything that's going on.
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled to see where the hell the world's going to be in 10 years, but we're the generation going through the growing pains. Yeah. Because things are changing, work is changing, the way, like, even like living situations. I just feel like the whole even going to school, then going to college, getting your degree, getting married, getting a home, having kids, and repeat. It just isn't like that. Is not going to make it another generation. Like Juliana, I doubt, who is our little one, who's about a year and a half. Uh-huh. By the time she gets to college, it's going to be so different. But there's not going to be jobs that just stick around for 40 years and you just go and do, like, the whole world's going to change. And I think it's for the better to let us humans be what we are, which are creative, unique individuals. Yeah. And though the automation is scary, if there's a way that technology can automate repetitious jobs or things that can be replaced and allow us humans to be loving, caring, volunteer, charity work, be around others, create, draw, sing, write. Like, humans are special in that way.
And
that we want to volunteer and do charity, but I think a lot of people don't because they're stressed out. Yeah. Like, what if you'd want to go and just be like, I just want to go help in a hurricane happened. I want to go and help. But you can't take 3 weeks off to go help.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we've created a system that doesn't allow us to lead with our best foot forward as a human being, which is caring, because you have to be selfish for your own needs.
Well, and then once you finally are, like, get a little bit of time off, you're exhausted, you have your chores, your errands, you got to keep the household together, and that's what's so horrible. Because think about, like you were saying earlier, a world where everyone was able to be their artistic selves and do things that make them happy, how much happier they would be as a whole.
Yeah.
That would, in return, they would give that energy out to the world and add value in that ripple effect, you know?
And spend time discovering what they love, what they want to do, you know, or being able to be a stay-at-home mom or teaching yoga. It doesn't have to be art, but I know you're using that as an example, but like us being what we want to do and have the freedom to do it, you know? So that's going to be really interesting. But yeah, I wish I had more answers. I didn't get more answers, but I did feel like this isn't what I thought the coronavirus, like just 2 days ago, that I was like, oh, it's just going to blow over. This gentleman made it seem like it's not really going to blow over. It's going to take 3 to 6 months, and we just have to work together, stick together, and we need to start talking more honestly and not worry about the panic, because people aren't panicked. He said they're just concerned. He goes, no one's flipping over cars. He goes, we just want to know what's going to happen. What do we do? And have some clear information. So let's just stay tuned in the next week, month, and just see what happens. But, you know, the crowded places, you know, and especially if you are someone who has a weak immune system or you are older. You know, if you're someone who is going to go run the LA Marathon and then go see your 97-year-old grandmother in the nursing home in 3 days, it's probably not a good idea. If you and I wanted to go to a crowded place, being in the age demographic and being healthy, we're probably okay, but we shouldn't go see our 87-year-old grandma, and you know what I mean? Or someone who's sick or just came home from the hospital from surgery, or, you know, I don't think you need to stop your life as of yet, but be cognizant about who you're spending your time around if you just came from a large group of people.
That's very, very good advice.
And we luckily don't have any traveling until June, and then we'll just see by then if it's we're good or it's scary.
Road trip.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah.
It's a far drive.
Well, I mean, it only sounds good until you're doing it, and then you're just like...
For a road trip last year, we drove a lot on the East Coast. Ohio, D.C., Newark, New York, Ohio. It was a big...
Again, though, this brings us back to that point, and I actually love what I do for a living.
Yeah.
But I was still on a 3-week break, and as soon as we got back, I had to go to work.
I know.
I think if we were going to take a road trip like now, it's kind of like, well, yeah, we can do whatever we want right now.
Yeah.
So you don't have that like, this is exhausting, and then I have to go back to work Monday.
Right.
You know, there's so many things when you have freedom that you don't realize, like when you don't have that dire responsibility. And that's why I want to like explore now before we have kids, because that's going to be a whole new thing.
Oh my gosh. Whole new chapter.
Yeah, we talked about how it's been 3 weeks. It's so funny how like January took forever. The first 2 weeks of February flew by, and now the last 3 weeks have been like long.
They've gone really slow.
I was like, wow.
Really slow, but it's all good. I feel like this happens every year. January is always so long. February just shoots right by, and then March, you're kind of like, huh.
And we're just positioning ourselves for the next chapter. So when you're in limbo, you're kind of like, because you don't have that schedule. Like we're about to get on one, but it was like, what do you do?
And instead, I feel like there have been so many things that we've been trying to do that isn't a usual schedule for us.
Yeah.
So like, do this. Oh my gosh. And the days, like, they're going by, but then we look back and we're like, that was only 2 weeks ago? It felt like 2 months.
The fact that Valentine's Day was only 3 weeks.
Oh gosh.
I could have swore it was a year and a half. It's been crazy.
Oh my gosh. Your birthday's here next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
32.
32.
How you feeling going into your 32nd year?
I mean, just our life is so crazy.
I know.
Like we're talking about our wedding, and we're talking about, you know, there's just like, it's just to have, as much as I talk about, it's so funny that we brought this up today about this like rogue having a little more freedom, but you also, there's something about the security and the routine and the normal being, like having like knowing you're waking up at a certain time, knowing you're going to a certain place, doing a certain thing gives you like a sense of like relief, where you're like, oh, you know, like we're about to be 32, 33. We're like, we got to think about kids. We got to think about our wedding. Where do we have it? Where are we going to be in 6 months? Yeah. Where are we going to be in a year? You know what I mean? And as much as So it's just trying to figure it out. So I couldn't be happier with where I am as full of knowledge and experience that I have, and I'm ready for the next thing. But I'm also, we're just unaware. Like, it's kind of cool, but then
we're kind of in between chapters, though.
Yeah.
Because when we think about where we'll be in a year, things will be very, very different.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just kind of like finishing up that last page of our last chapter, and we're like, okay, let's make sure like this is good and this is good, and we're putting our eggs here, 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 and here. Like, which one is going to be the most important road to take?
But for the first time, though, I'm thinking of the future of 5-10 years. Like, I'm not going to make decisions like now that I have the ability to go back and audition and stuff. It's like I'm just not going to live here and then just audition and go, well, this year I booked 3 guest stars and I did a full season of a Netflix show. That was cool. And then like, that's just your life each year. Like, I got to have I can't just like sit around and be like, oh, I have an audition, I'm going to book this. And the whole thing of working on days kept us here. And we've always thought about moving but now we're getting back into writing and being able to take control of that. Yeah. But I guess my whole thing is that I don't want to be an actor first. I'm really interested in being a overall content creator through all the platforms, building our podcast, like all of that. Writer, director, and then actor is where I've really, now that I've grown, where I see the hierarchy of it.
Sure.
I think the acting thing is just a fun hobby that if I get something, I'll be like, oh, cool, like I'll go do it. But ultimately, I'm doing it if it serves the top 3.
Well, and setting up your lifestyle in that way allows us to live where we want. When you and I first moved here, it was like, well, yeah, acting's great and fun, but you have to be in LA to audition. Now a lot of stuff is self-tape, but regardless, you probably, if you're just trying to be an actor, should be here. Yeah. But if you're doing other things and you build a name and a brand for yourself and, you have that full-time content creation, a podcast, writing, directing, like whatever it is, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do. I mean, that's the dream to me.
Yeah.
Not having to be, at someone else's beck and call of, oh, I got to get back to this callback, or it's fun, it's good, but I think long term, especially now that we're the age we are, we're thinking bigger. We're thinking about, well, what do we want our life to be like?
Yeah.
Having a kid, getting married, like whatever it is that we decide we want to do for us, it's a whole new world that we have no idea about.
Yeah, and I think it's important not to close the door, and that's why I was like, you know what, I'm gonna allow because it's weird that, because we talked about this as well, and I think there was somebody who you even talked about who won an award or something where they're like, well, what are you gonna do next or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is that everyone's like, oh, like you're an actor, so like, okay, so like you talked to like my accountant, or like literally everybody in my life is like, so are you auditioning? So what's next? Or maybe try to get on a soap, or what's this? Or is Dave's gonna call you back? Like what? It's like everyone. Like, I know you know me as an actor, but I'm Freddie. I'm a person that is growing, that is interested in other things, and though I do have a skill that I'm using, and I'm gonna apply that skill of being an actor, but it's like I'm not over the moon excited to go like work on another show or do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just really not, but I don't want to close the door because that might be what I need to do. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm here now. So let me see if the acting gods want me to do that. But we're able to do because what I'm more excited about is the movie that we're going to work on, the trailer that we're about to shoot. And we're going to have way more info probably in like 2 weeks on that. But that's what I'm excited about.
Of course.
I get to, because we're about to direct, and because we want to make a film, the byproduct is that I get to act. But we're doing the other things first.
Of course.
So, and that's ever since we did Addicts back in 2013, that is the thing that made me most happy. Is I was acting, but I was
You're in
charge on that.
You created it.
Yes.
And I have always said you thrive in environments where you can bring something to life and create it, and you really are a great leader. You know what I'm saying? So being able to wear all those different hats, all while being able to act, doing what you love.
Yeah.
It's a different feeling.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just a very interesting, trying to transition, like it's a really, really big decision
Of course.
of where to spend your time. And so that's what we've been really just focused on, is like, well, what do we want? What do we have here? And how do you not make emotional decisions?
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is. We have been, since 2014, trying to create a path for ourselves that I'm not relying on a phone to ring, and my happiness and fulfillment be based on the rest of my life and finances on a casting and then a producer, director, a studio head, and then their marketing and their distribution to all go right for my life. And that's why we were in online sales, why we did e-commerce, why we write a book, why we do a podcast, why we create content, work with brands, do sponsors, write our own stuff. I need to be in control.
Life of an entrepreneur, baby.
Yeah, it's like, it's so cool. So I'll probably come back in 3 weeks that I've booked a show and that I'll be going to Georgia or something.
Oh my gosh. But you know what? We're down for any ride. And I think that's the coolest thing about the kind of non-traditional life we're living, at least right now.
Yeah.
We're down for whatever. Bring it on. Bring different opportunities. Like, we're always open to look. And really quick before we wrap, speaking of emotional decisions, we have the Bachelor finale tonight, and I just have to say it's so crazy to me that if you watch, was it a podcast we did or we just did a one-off video on YouTube talking about who we thought was going to win. Freddie and I both made guesses.
They're the final two.
And they're the final two. So
that's tonight.
I know.
They're gonna,
I'm so excited to see who will win. No idea. I guessed Hannah, Ann, and you guessed Madison. So
I'm excited that we guessed right, but I was also bummed because we didn't put any money on it. Like, who cares if we're right? You get the satisfaction.
You're psychic, babe.
I don't know.
Gotta go, guys.
but we'll see. So I guess we can pat ourselves on the back that we can guess, but
hey,
we'll see. It's kind of cool. Pick 1 out of 27 people. But anywho, we did not forget. I know I keep saying this. We have to do that Q&A. We have all those questions,
we'll
but I just know things have been coming up. But
Promise.
maybe we'll knock one out tomorrow and put it out the next couple days of just the Q&As from the fans, because I know we came to y'all and said, hey, comment below. We have all your questions, and so we'll be doing a Q&A, and then we have some guests coming over on Saturday, and then we got the birthday podcast next week. So got a photo shoot coming up and all this fun stuff. So
lots of craziness. All good craziness, though.
All good craziness. So we love you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.